I'm Bernard Lee White.
And I'm Gordon Sherman White.
And I'm Frank Manuel White.
I still live in Stafford County.
I live in Hampton, Virginia.
Hampton?
I still live in Stafford County.
Let's see. What is it about, for the two of you who live in Stafford County, what is it about Stafford that, has kept you living here? Did you ever move away and then come back, or did you, have you always lived in Stafford?
You might not want to ask them that.
Oh.
These boys are military guys, and they've been gone for 20-some years, and then they decide to come back. So, but talk, man.
Okay. I enlisted in the United States Air Force in 1965. I spent 30 years in the Air Force. Stafford County to me was home. I really didn't see any other places that I really wanted to stay at. I did spend a little time down in Hampton, Virginia, because I retired out of Langley Air Force Base. But in getting a job up here at Ladysmith, Virginia, at the Alliance Tractor Trailer Training Center, I decided to come on back up here, and that's where I made my home, back at the home place.
I graduated from Walk Grant High School in June of 1957 on a Friday. Monday I left home and joined the Air Force and stayed for a little over 26 years. The reason why I left Stafford was because I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world. And it really wasn't anything in Stafford for me. It was still integrated, and I couldn't, a job, if I wanted a job.
Segregated.
I would be, segregated, thank you. If I wanted a job, most job would be with the broom or doing manual labor, and that was not my style. Matter of fact, they'll probably tell you some stories to the fact that that manual labor was not my style. Okay, when I milked the cows and fed the horse, and the chickens, and did all that, but manual labor was not my style.
You know, we worked in the fields, and we were thrashing wheat. I'll never forget that. He and I were on the combine, and our job was, as the grain came out, would go in this bag, and then as soon as this bag filled up, then we pushed the lever, and it would start this bag, and we had to tie this bag and then put it down the chute. And he announced to me out in the field out there, he said, "I ain't been doing this long." And he told me, he said, "When I get out of here, I'm gonna work with my mind and not with my hands." And that's what he did. He does not like manual labor.
So what is it that you ended up doing in the service?
I mostly administrative personnel type work in the service. But I even as a kid, if you give me a book and put me in the corner of the plane and read, I wouldn't bother nobody, and I didn't want to go outside to do the work. I had to do the work, but that's what I enjoyed. And these people would tell you the same thing, that hey, you give me a book and put me in the corner, I'm content.
So what about you? Tell us a little bit about your working career, or
Well,
what took you to Hampton?
Well, yeah, I when I graduated from high school, and I got a partial college scholarship, and went to Hampton and went into education, and got a job down in that area, and stayed down there, and loved it down there, married down there, and I've been down there for over 40 years, and so.
What is it that you taught?
Well, I began teaching health and physical education and elementary science, and then doing some coaching of basketball and football, and then ended up as an administrator, and I retired as principal of Hampton High School.
So I'm very interested in your religious background. Your brother stated that you were members of the Primitive Baptist?
Bethlehem Primitive Baptist Church.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about that influence in your lives?
That's probably a big influence, because we had to go to church. I mean, the whole family, the whole community. You know, I refer to where we live now, well, I don't live there any longer, but where we lived, I refer to it as a village. You know, here lately they began saying it takes a village to raise a child. Well, we lived in a village, even though it was on the farm. But I could walk out of my front door of my parents' home and walk about 3/4 of a mile up the road, and with the exception of about 3 houses, all of them were relatives. Elaine, Uncle William had a bunch of children, and they had houses up there, and we'd go up there. I could stop in almost any of those houses and get a sandwich or do something. You know, I was welcome. They knew who we were, because we, you know, it was just like a village. And so every Sunday you had to go to church. And if you didn't feel like, if you got sick, or if you said you were sick, or you wanted to opt out of going to church, then you couldn't go anywhere else.
That's right.
My parents said, no. If you're too sick to go to church, then you're too sick to do anything else. Plus the fact we had certain, we used to call them church clothes, certain clothes that you wore. We used to call them Sunday go meeting clothes. We used to call them Sunday go meeting clothes. But when you, and you went to church, and there were certain things that you learned. I didn't know anyone back in my day back who did not know the 23rd Psalm, 100th Psalm, the Lord's Prayer. Those types of things you learned. And then in school, when we went to school, that church thing went over in school, because in school we had every morning we had to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then you had devotions, and you had to learn the Bible verse. I used to get hot with the girls, because you know the girls used to always do these long Bible verses. And we would always, if somebody in the class said the Bible verse, you could not repeat it. So we'd always raise our hand. I'd raise my hand first, because I want to be first. I want to say Jesus wept.
There you go.
I want to know. I had 2 pat ones. I want to get it with Jesus wept, but in the beginning God created heaven and earth. I want to know that one. But these girls used to get up there and tell me, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. What in the world are y'all trying to do? Y'all trying to preach or something? What are you trying to do? But that was a big influence. And then we were so close to church. You knew everybody. I remember Reverend Williams, Harry Williams. He was the minister one, the pastor we called him, and he lived up, I don't know, about 70 miles away.
Orleans.
Yeah, and we only had church on first and third Sundays. Okay, so when he come down on a church meeting or something, he stayed with B's mom, grandmama, and granddaddy.
No. He stayed with B's mom and dad.
I mean, mom and dad.
Your grandmama
yeah.
and your granddaddy.
Well, he stayed with grandmama and granddaddy, and that was B's daddy.
There you go.
And I stayed with B. See, I stayed in the early years. I stayed with grandmama and granddaddy. So B and I were kind of close. When I got ready to go to school, Grandpa wanted me to stay there to go to school. But see, I'd watch B. B'd walk that mile from the house out to the road. And I had sense enough to know I didn't want to do that every morning. And so I said, no, I want to go live with my mom and daddy now, because they had moved to Diagram and run the store. And I would have been there anyway if it hadn't been for him, because he came along late. And so mama had to tend the store and take care of one child. It was him. The rest of them were in school, and daddy worked. So I stayed with B and them down on the farm. And, but Grandpa was a deacon in the church. Mm-hmm. And so when I'd go to church on Sunday, if I was sitting out there and got a little sleepy, and he's sitting up in the deacon's bench, he'd tell me, bring the boy up here. And I'd go up there and then lay there and fall asleep right there in Grandpa's lap right up on me. Yes, sir. And so, all those little deacons, the praying and all that rubbed right on off. Yes, sir. So it was a big influence.